Welcome back, true believers, to another Spider-Man PS4 related video, and today I'm going to be talking about the different enemy types that we could possibly see in Spider-Man PS4. So, again, I'm going to reference, I would say, Ratchet and Clank on the PS4 from Insomniac Games, Sunset Overdrive from Insomniac Games, and even the Batman Arkham games as, like, the other superhero game that could be referenced on this list. So, in general, in superhero games or free-roaming games with heroes, there are usually the bosses of the game, and then there are also the enemies that you fight along your journey, like the henchmen of different, crooks or main villains of the game, or certain henchmen of certain people that you are going to fight in the end of the game, and it all depends on how you can fight them. And I think the Spider-Man game that portrayed this most, at least I think it portrayed it the most, was either The Amazing Spider-Man 1 or Spider-Man Web of Shadows, because in that game, in Web of Shadows, you had the thugs, you had the small, normal-sized thugs like you had the heavy thugs, and then you had the thugs with like long-range weapons that shot at you, and once you got to more progress in the game, there were flying enemies as well that you had to take out, and then the big boss of each thug, like Vulture, his henchman, Kingpin, his henchman, Electro, his henchman, and so on. In Amazing Spider-Man 1, as you're seeing right now, they had tons. They had Oscorp agents with guns, normal Oscorp guards, the small guys, the guys with robots, the actual robots themselves, guys with riot shields, and again, the same thing was the case with Batman. Batman, I think, not introduced this, but I think it portrayed it the best so far, where, again, there were tons of enemy varieties. There were small sizes Batman, there were guys with riot shields, guys with tasers, guys who were electrified, guys who you can only take out by throwing or using certain gadgets on them. There were the huge guys that you had to do the beatdown on, and then there were, like, the ninja guys who were really fast-paced. And again, people say that there's only button mashing in the Arkham games. I sometimes agree with them, but given all the different enemy varieties that we could have in that game, it gave a lot of options and challenge to that as well. And same thing here in The Amazing Spider-Man 1, there were guys with Gatling guns, and guys with little guns, and guys who had lots of really hardcore robots trying to go after you, and the, giant mecha evil robots as bosses. But as henchmen, it's going to be interesting to see what Insomniac Games does for Spider-Man PS4, and that's where I'm going to talk about Sunset Overdrive and Ratchet and Clank. Ratchet and Clank had different creatures that were kind of relatively the same, basis on the different planets where there were different creatures. There were like dog creatures, the Blarg, there were robots, and there were small, large, medium, guys with guns, guys without guns, ones that have rocket launchers, lots of enemies with different weaponry trying to kill Ratchet and Clank. And then in Sunset Overdrive, there were people, in general, just people, normal size. There were people who were really big. There were giant creatures. There were small creatures. There were medium-sized creatures. And then there were also giant bosses that the creatures were following orders from. So again, it is all about connectiveness or connectivity with this type of system that games with different enemy varieties have kind of made for themselves. And if Spider-Man wants to follow this mindset, or Spider-Man PS4 I should say, wants to follow this same type of formula, I would assume, since we've already seen the trailer, the same thing. In the trailer, we saw normal thugs that were the size of Spider-Man. We also saw the giant thug, who a lot of people said was Rhino, which it's not Rhino at all. I don't know why people thought that. That guy is a heavy, working for Mr. Negative, a heavy inner demon. So again, seeing that already, I'm going to assume that Insomniac has already taken it upon themselves to already make lots of enemy varieties. The ones that I'm also assuming are going to be in there, like you're kind of seeing right now, you see the henchmen with guns and the henchmen who are using like weapons, or the henchmen who are just using their fists. we're going to probably see different gangs, of course. So we saw Mr. Negative so far, his crew, and then the crew that Spider-Man is fighting on that rooftop where he swings that circuit breaker at them. I think those are just normal crooks. They don't look like they're wearing like suits or inner demon masks. I believe that those are just kind of like normal criminals, which would be cool because, again, the varieties can range from medium, big, guys with guns, maybe guys with certain types of weapons. Like, I don't know if this is going to be in the game, maybe like sonic blasters, or maybe like some people stole like Stark tech maybe, and they're trying to use it against Spider-Man or something. That's a far-fetched idea. But, again, guys with big guns, probably snipers maybe. I'm just throwing things out there. But with Sunset Overdrive, the thing is that they had a lot of big, heavy, destructive enemies because the city always felt like it was being destroyed, even though it was already in a apocalyptic setting. It felt like it was still totally being demolished. So I feel like that's kind of how I would see Spider-Man, I guess, in the sense that the city isn't going to be destroyed and demolished, but the enemies are going to cause a lot of damage. I don't know if that's going to be with guns because you can clearly see a henchman with a gun in the car, but I'm sure that they're going to be criminals like that just walking around. Maybe you have to fight some, but again, I'm going to assume there's going to be the normal thugs, the large thugs, maybe really agile thugs like the ninjas in the Arkham series. Maybe we'll have something like that. Maybe guys with guns, without guns. We will see. Let me know what all your thoughts are in the comment section down below, everybody. Thank you so much for watching, True Believers. Peace out.